Like a lot of Canadians, my family is kind of spread out. I have a sister in Edmonton, Alberta, and another in London, England. Each year, we try to arrange a family get-together in Toronto. You'd expect there to be a noticeable price difference in the flights, considering one is more than twice the distance than the other, and on another continent, across a literal ocean. But price-wise, they're not too far off. Flights from Edmonton to Toronto cost between $400 and $500. Flights from London to Toronto for the same dates are only marginally more expensive. None of this comes as a surprise to Canadians, but it sure does piss us off. Canada is one of the most expensive countries for air travel in the world. On Kiwi's 2017 Flight Price Index that compares average costs of air travel, out of 80 of the world's most frequently visited countries, Canada is ranked 65th. It's no wonder millions of us cross the border to fly to the United States, where taxes and fees are significantly lower. So why is flying in Canada so expensive? Part of the problem is geography and population size. Canada is the second largest country in the world, but it only has a population of 36 million, which is less than the state of California. So despite the fact that you think a country the size of Canada would naturally lend itself to air travel, the size of the market makes it a costly venture. But that's only part of the story. The Canadian government acts as a landlord to 26 of the largest airports in the country, which are leased out to non-for-profit airport authorities. And rent is not cheap. In 2016, the government raked in more than $324 million in rent from airports. To offset these costs, airports in Canada charge passengers steep fees and charge airlines some of the highest landing fees in the world. And it's all done with little regulatory oversight.
We essentially created these autonomous airport authorities that had local monopolies and taxing powers. They're not subject to any form of price regulation. So all these airport authorities had these so-called independent boards, but the boards really did not exert any influence on the operations, the decisions of senior management. The airports also had the ability to set up so-called airport improvement fees to pass on to consumers. We've allowed the airport authorities and management to basically do whatever they want, to create these large empires, incur a lot of debt, and hence pass on the cost of the debt, the cost of these empires, onto consumers.
These government policies also impact airlines. High operating costs combined with the relatively small size of the market discourages other airlines from setting up shop in Canada. As a result, Air Canada and WestJet dominate the market and keep prices high without fear of competition from ultra-low-cost carriers, or ULCCs. But that's about to change. After the Liberal government tabled Bill C-49, which would raise the limit on foreign investment in Canadian airlines from 25% to 49%, startups that were strapped for cash finally saw their opportunity.
This would provide greater access to capital for Canadian air carriers and encourage greater competition in the air sector.
Now, multiple airlines are racing to establish themselves as Canada's budget airline. WestJet announced it would be launching Swoop, its ultra-low-cost carrier, in the summer of 2018 after months of delays. Jetlines, another Canadian airline based in Vancouver, is hoping to launch its own around the same time. It plans to operate flights across Canada for the same price as a pair of jeans, according to the airline CEO. Calgary-based Enerjet, which has been trying to get its low-cost carrier, Fly2, off the ground for years, may soon enter the market as well. Determined not to be left out of the party, Air Canada has responded by announcing plans to expand its Discount Rouge line to more regional destinations. But this is not the first time that budget airlines have tried to break into the Canadian market, only to be priced out. The list of failures is pretty long. Roots Air, Greyhound Air, Harmony Airways, Zoom Airlines. But hopefully this time around will be different. It's upsetting that not many Canadians can afford to see family and friends in other provinces, or even just experience the country in its entirety. A recent study by Destinations Canada found that younger Canadians are more likely to travel internationally than within their own country. Why? You guessed it. The high cost of domestic transportation. And it sucks for tourists too. People who visit Canada have to choose between experiencing the East Coast or the West Coast of the country, because hopping on a cheap flight from Vancouver to Montreal is just not really an option.
But what about the train?
Don't even get me started about Via Rail. So as long as you're willing to sacrifice your legroom, free wine, and complimentary bag check, you may soon be able to fly across the country affordably. That is, if these ultra low-cost carriers actually manage to take off.